Time to jump into the show. Hello and welcome to Paradise. You are listening to Green Dudes, the only Green Day podcast that matters. You are here with your host. That's me. My name's Connor Mack, and I'm here with my best buddy in the Green Day verse, Green Day comrade in arms, BFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFF business partner, Mr. Connor Kelly.
Hey,
Connor, how's it going today?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. I got my my Dookie shirt on.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
that I got from the Hella Mega tour.
Yeah, I remember you buying that.
Yeah, that was during the Weezer set.
The
I was
Weezer.
like,
Yeah, you missed like the entirety of Weezer's set.
come on, it wasn't
Waiting
that
in the
much.
merch line.
It wasn't that much, but I forget if I had already seen them on or if I was going to see them again.
Yeah,
like,
because we did see we went to 2 shows that tour, so you were like, it's okay, I don't mind missing them once, and I'll see them when I'm in the pit, because we were in the nosebleeds for that show.
That's
and
right.
you were kind enough. You bought a shirt for myself and for my little sister while waiting in line. So
that's right. Yeah.
So that sacrifice was worth it for us, at least.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, and you're wearing your Dookie shirt. I just took a big fat Dookie.
Yes.
Before we started the episode here.
Yeah.
So that's like my way of playing to the theme.
Yeah, no, you're like celebrating in a way.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
we're about to finish talking about Dookie. So you might as well just take a huge fucking shit.
Yeah, and that's I was saving up. I was waiting for that because we almost did this episode last week, but then Easter happened. We're like, we'll take the week off, to observe the holiday and to celebrate the holiday. And I was like, well, I don't feel right taking a Dookie until until the time is right. So I saved up I waited all week and saved it all up for today. And at 5 o'clock on the dot, it all came out.
Yeah, wow. That's and it's a good thing we didn't have to postpone the episode again.
Yeah.
It's like, just imagine if you had to.
I know.
Just sit on
I had
that
to
for
wait
another
more,
week,
because you were saying like maybe we could do it Thursday. I don't think I can wait that long, man.
Connor, this is a pressing matter.
It was pressing. It was, Connor. It was touching cloth, as they say.
Yeah, no, they do say that. I've heard that several times, actually.
They do say that. Yes, folks, if you couldn't tell already, this is welcome to the Final Flush, a Dookie retrospective.
Yes, there you go.
Yes, we do subtitles now.
Yeah, well, that's we're constantly changing and
evolving,
and refining things. So it's like this makes sense. This makes perfect sense.
It does make sense. Yeah, we're back. We're excited to kind of send Dookie off into the sewer, as it were, and move on to the future. So this is kind of a bittersweet episode here. But before we get into that, there has been some motion in the Green Day camp over the last 2 weeks in our absence. Just quickly, there was a cover-up show that seemed pretty fun. Their second Coachella performance went off, and I'm not sure if you saw this, Connor. Flava Flav was the punk bunny.
Yeah, I did not see that. I did not see that. That's crazy.
Flava Flav, Connor, was in the drunk bunny costume, and the hat fell off, and it was a whole thing.
Wow. It's possible that it's not just a Coachella thing. It's possible that Flava Flav has just been the drunk bunny.
He was the drunk bunny this entire time. We had no idea.
Yeah.
Because I of course I watched the second night of Coachella, or the second weekend of Coachella for Green Day's performance, and I was like kind of half watching, because I was at work, and and then I like looked and I saw the mask where the Punk Bunny head fall off, and I was like, oh shit! Like I was like really worried. I was like, no, this can't happen. This is not good. Oh no. And then I was like, is that fucking Flava Flav?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is like a bit. Like they planned
Right.
this.
Right.
And then he did his whole thing and was like Green Day, like he introduced Green Day. It was pretty fun. Connor, what are your thoughts on Flava Flav? We do kind of have a history with him.
Yeah, we do. I mean, like I grew up watching Flava Love.
Exactly.
And,
we watched that together.
Yeah, we watched it. It's like, why were we so invested in like the inception of VH1 romance reality shows? We were there. I mean, fucking once it got to Rocket Love, I was even watching that shit. And that sucked.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I might. I don't. Oh yeah, I do remember that actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was that with the guy from Poison?
Yes. Yeah. That guy. You know. So whatever. Yeah, Flava Flav. I think he's funny. I guess.
Yeah, he's a funny little guy.
Yeah, and you know what? He is it's from like the outside looking in, because I can't really say that, even though I have had all this like experience with Flav over the years. I wouldn't say that I'm like knowledgeable about Flav. And so I was surprised. He's surprisingly talented in my eyes, because when they were doing the Olympics, like just the past like Paris Olympics or whatever, fucking they had this whole thing. I think he was like one of the American ambassadors or whatever. And they had this whole thing where he's like in this fucking high-end Parisian hotel or whatever, and they have this giant grand piano, and he's sitting there playing like this beautiful, intimate like piano piece. I don't know. The dude is multifaceted. That's all all I guess I can say,
It's incredible.
Yeah. And apparently the Drunk Bunny. So pretty cool. Learn something new every day.
Is him and that woman, are they still together? Bridget, whatever.
Yeah, Bridget. I mean, I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I really was rooting for them.
Yeah. Man, what was that? Because they had their own show. It was like Strange Love, or
yes, because that was the winner of the reality show.
Yeah.
Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah, Bridget something. It might have been.
It is Nielsen.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Looking it up now. Yeah.
Yeah, Strange Love. You're right.
Yep. Yeah, I remember the theme song for that show, which is.
Do you want to sing it for us?
A little bit. It goes a little something like this. It was like something like "'cause you're not like me, and I'm not like you in this strange love." Yeah, it's like, what was that?
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so they actually they did not meet on a dating show. They met on The Surreal Life. Remember that show?
Yeah.
It was like a bunch of celebrities, or like B-list celebrities living in a house together.
Yeah. No, I mean, yes. Actually, I think someone died on that fucking show.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Like, I think that's why it stopped.
Oh wow. I had no idea. I wonder who it was.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard some shit. VH1, I don't know. Weird stuff. Anyways, what was this all about, Connor? What the fuck were we talking about?
Okay, anyways.
Coachella, Flava Flav.
So I want to make sure that they're not together anymore, but they're still on good terms.
They're still on. Okay, thank God for that.
Yeah.
But it's probably been a while since they were.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Anyways, yeah, so that happened. That was pretty exciting. The rest of the show was great. People loved it. Blah blah blah. Connor, did you see 7-Eleven? They had the Slurpee Day in California. I think it was in LA that they had a Kerplunk flavored Slurpee.
Yeah, I saw like an ad for that where they were like promoting it, or so I saw that thing was happening, but I don't. Did you get to see like any pictures or anyone reporting back on that?
I saw some pictures and I saw some posts about it, but yeah, it was very like it was LA specific, so I don't really know. It was a green Slurpee, so like I don't know, it was like a lime flavor or something.
Yeah, it's probably it.
Probably probably pretty good, but I don't know. I would have gone to get some if it was like nationwide.
Oh, obviously. I mean, you're going to 7-Eleven often enough,
Well,
anyways.
not
So
so much these days, but I always love a good trip to 7-Eleven.
yeah,
Um Now, Connor, the big thing that we wanted to talk about here before we get into the brunt of the episode is Connor, Green Day is getting a Hollywood Walk of Fame star
yeah,
on May 1st, which is Friday, I believe.
yes,
Or yeah. So that's pretty huge. Um and this was actually, oh no, it's Thursday. Sorry, Thursday. They're getting the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Um, this is massive. I don't actually even know. I didn't really even think about bands getting Hollywood Walk of Fame stars. Like, it's like celebrities that do like singular. But I guess other bands have. But I wasn't expecting it. I this was like, wow, that's a cool thing that can happen. What did you think when you saw that this was gonna take place?
yeah. I was surprised too because I kind of had the same the same, I don't know, pattern or like trajectory that you were thinking there, where it's like, okay, typically, Hollywood, you're thinking of movies, right? That you're thinking of the fucking silver screen, the visual medium here, and yeah, I guess it's not unheard of or whatever, but yeah, I was surprised, and then I guess I just was like, oh well, obviously this is a thing that happens, and obviously Green Day, they are very famous. They are at a level
Yeah,
of stardom and you know success that I guess warrants something like this. I did kind of wonder. I'm like, does this tie into the whole movie thing they have going on? Is
oh,
this
yeah,
like part of the transition into like, I don't know, the kind of like the very slowly percolating background movie career of Billy Joe. You know what I mean? I it's like at this point maybe just open up like a Green Day movie studio or something,
yeah,
call it
yeah.
fucking Punk Bunny Films or something, and
Punk
just
Bunny Films.
fucking it's like let's get some more movies with the boys in it. Let's just it's maybe that's what they want to do. I don't know.
Let's go hog wild. Maybe, I mean, you can finally do the American Idiot film.
Yes.
Fuck Tom Hanks for dragging his feet. Get get Lee Kirk, the director of Ordinary World, in this movie to do like
Yeah.
someone who's actually gonna do shit. Come
Right.
on.
We need to get the ball moving on this. It's like, how I don't know how much longer can this just be spinning around.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
I'm so
And
tired of waiting. You know what I'm saying, man?
tired of waiting for you, American
Yeah.
Idiot, Tom
Yeah.
Hanks. Yeah, and now that he's MAGA, it's like it's not gonna happen.
Tom Hanks. Tom
Now
Hanks
that
is
Tom Hanks
MAGA.
is MAGA.
Right. We talked
Remember that
about
picture
that.
of him with the MAGA hat on?
We talked about that.
That
I
was
still am not sure about the
yeah.
legitimacy of that photo.
It was definitely not Skip from SNL,
Yeah.
where he played a MAGA guy. Anyways, uh, yes, this is exciting, and it's happening on Thursday. We will do full coverage of it for on the next episode. Um, I and I mean they sent out a big call to fans, like, you're all invited. Connor, you texted me, you said we're invited.
Right.
we
We're
we were
invited.
we were personally invited, the Green Dudes, which was pretty cool. And it's probably, they probably know that we're like business partners
Yeah.
and professional podcasters.
Yes.
um that's probably why they invited us personally.
Yeah. It did
um
seem like a very personal invitation that
it
we
it
received.
did, yeah. like we can't make it out there, unfortunately,
Yeah,
just because of other commitments that we have, which is like podcasting. Pretty much, we couldn't cancel recording sessions we had already booked.
obviously, and they understand. They know that.
They totally, yeah, they're pretty cool about it. So, but we will cover it. I'm excited to see. I don't even know. I feel like a bunch of Green Day fans are going to show up and like they're not going to be able to see shit. They're just going to be like so many people just in front, and then in front of them, and there's going to be like a little square partitioned off where the band is there. They can probably see little glimpses of the boys, kind of like 5 times worse than us at the subway for Jimmy Fallon,
Yeah, true.
and
Yeah,
no music being played.
right. It'll be, probably a bit of a shit show, but that's why it'll be cool to kind of see it from the sidelines, as it were, the virtual sidelines.
Yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. I am just kind of curious. I'm sure there's going to be some blurbs, some little interviews, or it's like, what is there to say about this? Like, what
yeah,
is the feeling? What's the deal? Um yeah, it is interesting that it is happening.
it is. Speaking back of the Green Day Punk Bunny movie studio, they can finally, because they had an idea that they wanted to do a horror movie around warning times. And that never came to fruition. They wanted to score it and write it and everything, and so maybe they can finally do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be really cool. And you know what? I bet that they could get the next Austin Powers movie off the ground finally too.
Oh
Because
yeah,
they
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 totally could.
yeah, exactly. So it's like there are things that I think they want to accomplish in the world of film that
Yeah,
this just might open some doors,
this could,
to
and I
make that
mean
happen.
they're tight with like the cast of The Office. So just imagine like it's like obviously Mike Myers playing Austin Power, but like the rest of the cast is just from The Office.
Yes. Yeah, no,
Like that would be
that'd
a
be
pretty
pretty
cool
good.
movie.
Yeah, no,
Like
that'd be pretty good.
imagine like Jim reacting to Austin Powers saying, saying
Yeah.
something funny because he gives that look to the camera. You're like,
Yeah, right.
oh, this
Because
is
that's what you'd
perfect.
have to in 2025. You can't just have Mike Myers being like, "Well, should we shag now or
Oh
shag
no,
later?" It's like that's not gonna
yeah,
fly.
that's not gonna fly.
So
No,
you need, but you also can't have Austin Powers not say that shit. So it's like
no,
you've
he
got
has to.
he has to. So you have
He,
him say it, and then you just
yeah,
have Jim there, and he's just looking at he's like, "Get a load of this guy," and
yeah,
everyone's like,
exactly.
"Oh, no, 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 it's cool," because Jim kind of gave the look, like,
He gave the look. Yeah, yeah. He gave the knowing look. We know it's not okay, but it's funny that it's
yeah,
not
no, but
okay.
it's funny that he said it, and it's funny
It's
that he's reacting to it. Yeah,
yes, exactly. And essentially, yeah, essentially, Austin Powers takes the Michael Scott role.
yeah, yes,
And maybe this is actually just an Office reboot.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
we just have Austin Powers.
and Austin Powers is the manager of the branch.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I could already see it now too. Like pilot episode,
Yeah,
they're reopening or whatever, and it's like everyone is like confused. They think Michael Scott is coming back because for some
yeah,
reason everyone just heard Michael's coming.
yeah.
Michael's going to be the manager. And everyone's like, oh my god, Michael's coming
Wow.
back.
Yeah,
Michael Scott.
amazing.
No, it's meta. Turns out
Yeah,
it's Michael Myers, and
yes, Michael
he's showing
Myers.
up to like basically
Yeah,
be Austin Power. It writes
yeah.
itself.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like he's playing Mike Myers, but he's playing Mike Myers playing Austin Powers. So, which is something that they can't figure out why he's not why he's in character the entire time. There's a lot there that could be really fun. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, for
I
sure.
think
That's some good stuff.
I think if the band's listening, please, this is gold. People
Yeah.
would eat this up, and I'm not even joking. That
Yeah.
this could be great. It could be a great Office reboot HBO miniseries.
Yes. Yeah.
You
That's all.
know?
It's like 6 episodes,
Yeah.
whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Punk Bunny films or whatever, you're dipping your toe, your first kind of major foray into what
Yeah.
it's like to film and release something like this. Come on, it's a slam dunk. So,
Absolutely. So now
man,
the go ahead.
well, I don't know if this is what you were gonna say. I was gonna kind of go from so on Instagram they were talking about the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and they were like, "Oh, to celebrate, we're gonna release Ballyhoo,
Yes.
one of the songs off Savior's Edición de Lux."
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Great pronunciation there. That was
That's how
good.
you
That
say
was
it.
good. Yeah. You got it. You got it.
And they played like 2 seconds of the guitar riff on their
You
Instagram
know,
reel. So,
that is what I was going to bring up, but I did not. I did not listen to the clip. Can you
oh
describe to
yeah,
me what it? Can you describe to me what it sounded like?
yeah. I don't know.
All right. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a little something like that.
I dig it. I dig it. Yeah. So that means, yeah, we're getting a brand new Green Day song in just 2 days, which is incredible. And that means next episode we're talking about the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. We're also talking about a brand new Green Day song, Ballyhoo. Get ready, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do not hold your fucking bowels waiting around. It's like just do what you got to do and listen to the podcast like normal when we get there.
yeah, we don't. We're kind of done. We're done holding in our Dookie. It's over. Next thing we'll be withholding is sleep because Insomniac is up next.
That's right. Yep.
Um,
And after that, I'm gonna have to pretend to be a fucking idiot for a week or something,
yeah,
leading up to.
pretend,
Yeah, that's true.
pretend.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
sure.
And then Jim would be over there in the corner, like,
I know. It'd be like he's just giving the look. He's giving.
yeah. He's exactly.
Anyways, folks, welcome to the Final Flush, a Dookie retrospective. We have spent a lot of time on Dookie. It feels like.
Yeah, it does.
It feels like it's been a while since we've and I mean, rightfully so. This is a big album, huge milestone in the band's history. So I wanted to give it I wanted to do it justice, give it what it deserved. And I think now we've done that. It's been a great I mean really a year celebrating it along with other things. And yeah, it was fun to kind of wrap it up with with our discussions on the album. Connor, so I just listened to it. Actually, I woke up like at like 3:45, and I immediately put on Dookie, and I started listening to Dookie, in its entirety, and really, yeah, really, really loved it. It was kind of a nice farewell listen. I know you have been had been listening to it kind of off and on throughout this entire discussion process. It's been in your rotation.
Yeah.
Are how does that feel? Kind of having a Dookie moment now in your 30s, and now saying goodbye. Are there any final thoughts, or just as an album as a whole, with the listening experience that you have uncovered or realized in kind of this latest Dookie moment that you've experienced?
Yeah, definitely. Um, for getting into Dookie now, having a Dookie moment, as you said, in my 30s, which as you get older, that means something way different. Having a Dookie moment in like your 60s and 70s is
Oh yeah, well they happen more and more at that point.
yeah, it's true. But in my 30s, it's it's I can handle it.
It's but it's cause for concern.
It's yeah, no, I mean, and obviously I'm gonna talk to my doctor about it, but it like you said, it's normal. It's normal. No, it has been cool to get into the album in the way that I have now because as we have talked about, um, it was a very important album in our childhood, but also one that it feels like we kind of always sort of felt like it was overrated. That's not the language that we would have used back then. Um, but for me especially, I've kind of always felt like there's something about the record that I didn't totally get, or didn't completely click with me in the way that I felt like it had with so many others. And so, since we've been discussing it for as long as we have, and I've been listening and re-listening to it throughout our discussion, I have I have gotten to a point where I'm like, I think I get it, kind of for the first time in a way. Like, and I do think a big piece of that has just been, filling in those tiny like nooks and crannies, especially of like the lyrics, that I have overlooked or misheard. We discuss every episode, and usually there's something, even in very, very popular songs. Like, I'm at a point where I'm just very comfortable admitting that I I just don't know it all, even though I love Green Day and I've listened to them for so long. Um, because I felt like, what I knew would just carry me through the album. I always felt like I could sing along to Dookie, but it does feel like the bond has grown stronger, where now I can say like 100% I have it. And that's been like really cool. To kind of start at the beginning of uh our track by track discussion in Dookie with Burnout, and feeling like, you know, that I've kind of been at that point of my general Dookie knowledge for my whole life. And now at the end, it really feels like I'm stepping away with a newfound appreciation, and a very real, like, newly gained knowledge and handle on it in a way that I didn't have, even just a few weeks or months prior. So that's the first
Yeah,
part there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I actually do feel similarly because to to the point of us maybe feeling like Dookie is overrated. That is something I mean, I have even said it over the years, and I mean, I'll always immediately cushion that with like not really, but you know, like to simplify what I'm trying to say, that's the word I would use, or just a shorthand for what I'm trying to explain. But for me, being such a huge fan of Green Day's entire discography and loving parts of their catalog that get overlooked or uh, unfairly maligned, in
Hmm.
my opinion, it had been very easy for me to push back on Dookie and maybe get a little bit defensive and reactionary about my thoughts on a seminal um, punk or pop punk record such as Dookie. And so there's always part of me that wanted to be the contrarian. There still is, very much so. And so I it's a hard thing for me because I genuinely have always loved this record, and that hasn't changed at all. But I think there is like a aspect of me keeping it at a distance, or kind of not truly seeing it for what it is because of how big of a behemoth it is. And I don't we didn't have the same attachment to Dookie that we had for American Idiot, because that wasn't what turned us on to the band.
Hmm.
That wasn't the big one for us. We knew it was the big one for you know maybe the majority of the other Green Day fans when we first jumped on board, but it wasn't for us. So we knew it was like this big monolith, but we didn't have that connection. We had our own. We had our own holy grail. Um, and so yeah, I think it was easy for me to like uh disparage it in maybe uh you know different ways over the years, while always still mentioning how much I do love it, but
Hmm.
but still not truly seeing it for what it is. Um, and so this time around, like I really really started to appreciate it for not for like what the place it has in history, which is massive, but for like just how timeless and like yeah timeless of a record it is, and uh, it how it sounds like I'm gonna compare it to like I'll compare it to like Ziggy Stardust or something, where it's like a timeless record that is it sounds great, and there's like something about it that it like really was like crafted with such care, and like a lightning in a bottle moment was captured, that it just feels like you can put it on at any time, and in any era, and it would deliver. So like I kind of walked away, especially with this last listen today,
Yeah.
just like feeling really appreciative of that moment in time, and the kind of craft that they the care that they all put into their craft. So I think it's a really special record, and if I've ever discounted it, uh you know I was wrong to it deserves all of its flowers. And yeah, I mean, it's not that it's overrated, it's that I still do believe that there are a lot of Green Day records that are underrated, or
Yeah.
yeah. So that was kind of the always the battle for me. And you know I realize that, and that's not really gonna change. But I guess I really appreciated seeing this record now without that burden, I guess. Um, and yeah, so that's the biggest thing that I walked away with.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna co-sign a lot of what you said there because yeah, I do also hope it's clear that it's like, I had always liked Dookie and definitely like Dookie more now. But also it's like when you're talking about how is it a matter of Dookie being overrated or other Green Day albums being underrated? It's like regardless of like the general rating of, the Green Day consensus, it's like there just are going to be Green Day albums that you and I like more than Dookie. And for a sizable portion of the fan base, I don't know how true it might be in the modern day, but for a long time, like you said, that would have been if not weird, maybe kind of an unpopular opinion potentially to hold, because it's like, well, really? You know, um yeah, I don't know. Dookie has, such a cultural moment and such an impact, and is itself, a very concise and well made and produced and crafted record that it's like, I could see it being hard to argue the further you go back into Green Day's past. Not that our opinions would have been different, but like it feels like I'm able to kind of turn my inner eye back to that and be like, I get why this was the prevailing opinion for so long. Like I get why this is sort of like the first Titanic Green Day record that it is, and so I do feel like I'm seeing it from like a different and more appreciative perspective, but it's like I still like Kerplunk more. It's just that it's just that I think for the first time in my life, I would really say without any hesitation that Dookie's the better album, and I don't want to sit here and like just like pit those things against each other, but that is kind of a shift in how I've perceived things, because at the beginning of our Dookie discussion, I don't really feel like I would have made that claim. But when I consider those records, and like as we were wrapping up Kerplunk and getting into Dookie, the conversation kind of naturally steered towards like, well, hey, we're getting into like the real big one now. and you and I agreed, like we're of the mindset historically that we like Kerplunk more, and I still feel that way. Like I still have more of a fondness and a nostalgia and kind of like this pure sort of fandom love for a record like Kerplunk. But I got to tell you now at the end of discussing Dookie, I'd be like, but Dookie is the better record. Like, and I just feel like that's the case, you know.
Yeah, it's a weird distinction, or yeah, it's because I mean I don't disagree with you there. I mean I guess it depends. It really depends on what your criteria is for what makes a good or great record. And I think as far as I'm imagining what that consists of, like, yeah, Dookie does kind of clear Kerplunk in a lot of ways. And it's not just like it's not just the sonic, like the sound quality, the production level that plays a huge part in it. Like um it sounding so massive and so crisp, like Kerplunk all like I can't make that Ziggy Stardust comparison with Kerplunk that I can
Yeah,
make with Dookie. I'm not even saying like Dookie is it sounds like Ziggy Stardust, or but
right.
it sounds and feels like a classic record.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's there's some kind of intangible quality there. That Kerplunk doesn't have. And I mean, is that just because of its, years of being built up and kind of mythologized? Like I think there's a little bit to that, but like to me it's like just the sound, like it just sounds warm and I don't know. There's like no descriptors that I can really just like use to make sense of it. But it feels, yes, it feels timeless. I guess that I think that's the word. Like for Kerplunk sounds like a record that is yeah, it's scrappy and it sounds DIY and very lo-fi and of its time.
Mm-hmm.
Even it sounds maybe even before its time. Like if like somebody turned on Kaplunk and they're like, oh yeah, this is from like the early '80s or something, a punk band, like that's like, yeah, okay, sure, but
Yeah.
uh yeah, Dookie really sounds timeless in a way that Kerplunk doesn't. And the songwriting, it's so tough for me because like I really feel like the songwriting on Kerplunk is better than it is on Dookie. But like but the song but it's like Dookie didn't wasn't calling for those kinds of songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like if a song like No One Knows was on Dookie, or you know uh I I don't know, Words I Might Have Ate or something like that, like those songs, like it wouldn't work because the moment wasn't calling for those kinds of songs. Like so I do think it's like more of a lightning in a bottle thing. Where like yeah, I think maybe Dookie is the better album. It's so hard to do a one to one
Yeah.
because it's like it's hard to reduce uh, those albums down to like Super Smash Brothers characters
Yeah.
battling it out. But you're right. And I think it's like brilliant. Like it might have just like felt right for the moment for them, but like often we're like Billy Joe as a songwriter showed so much growth on Kerplunk, um, and like showed like a maturity, a quote unquote maturity as a songwriter that like we don't really see again until Nimrod. Like what is the impetus to turn that off or to back off from that direction and go kind of play with the slacker burnout punk persona, which like is totally sincere. Like there's a duality to him that like that's both there in him, but like what is what pushes him in that direction? It's that's the question for me.
Yeah, obviously, it's a pretty big question. Um, I think some of it, if I had to guess, is kind of just talking about like moments in people's lives, and it's like as Billy's writing Dookie, it's like he's going through like his waning adolescence into his 20s, and I think just like how um Kerplunk is able to capture this like really compelling snapshot of where Billy is at that time, um and even sort of like crystallizing these like the inceptions of these things are going to grow into like humongous sort of Green Day things, like meeting 80 or whatever it is. It's like or the fear of growing older, not wanting to age, or not wanting to like lose the vitality of your youth, like things that all things that Billy is singing about right now, like today, is there on Kerplunk. So yeah, like it's kind of nuts, but I think that like Dookie does kind of also capture then like going from that more like blissful but also like anxious and messy sort of transition into like there's a little more solid ground on Dookie, I feel like. And like when Billy sort of plants his feet a little more and he looks around, it's like the more Billy figures out, the more he, I think, kind of feels pissed off in this moment. And that's like where this part of like, Green Day's anger is sort of showing itself for the first time, really happens here on Dookie. It's not to say that it's as straight of a line as all of that, or that all those things are connected, but just like talking about it out loud, it's like there's so much anxiety and uncertainty on Kerplunk, and on Dookie, it's sort of just like, well, who gives a fuck? You know, most of you guys are fucking idiots anyway. So, like, what am I trying to prove, or what am I trying to figure out? So there's kind of a not a rejection, because it's like Billy is still tries to figure out so many things, and again, that's all very ongoing. But on Dookie, it kind of feels like, I don't know. I almost feel like I don't want to just be like he's burnt out or whatever, because it seems too obvious. But like there does kind of come a point where it's like you live with all of that anxiety and like fear of the future, and all of that living on top of you, and there has to come a point where there's a rejection of it, even if it's not a permanent thing. And I feel like on Dookie a little bit, that's that's kind of the step that I feel like is happening with Billy and his songwriting, where it's like I can't just keep writing about how I don't fucking know anything and how I'm always fucked up because of some girl. Like,
Yeah.
like I just need space for like everyone else to kind of fuck off. Like, fuck you and fuck you and fuck you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that makes me think like we talk a lot about how Foam is like a left turn record for Green Day. And it's funny to kind of think about Dookie in similar ways. Like if you're looking at the Revolution, like this kind of is a left turn. Like
mhm.
their career, their career kind of was built off of a left turn.
Yeah,
And then American Idiot is another one. Like
yeah, true.
it's very funny how they kind of do that again and again. Um, but you're right, and I think if we look at like their the ages of the band members, like you were saying, like they're leaving their teens, entering their 20s. I that really kind of made it click for me because like there's so much about late teenhood where you're like technically an adult, like you turn 18, and like you think you know so much, or not that you know so much, but like it feels so heavy, and you know, you like your brain gets to a point where like you can really philosophize about things and really kind of look at things critically, and um you know, like a lot of it be like you kind of do feel like you're smarter than you actually are.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that happens so easily, and to a lot of people, myself included. Um, and then you're right, like that's not sustainable. Like you do kind of find out, like, wait, I'm actually just like a piece of shit idiot. Like,
Yeah.
and so I do think that maybe that realization does inform a lot of Dookie. And when I think about it that way, that really that tracks. Then obviously when you get older, it turns back around. It's like that's just life, I guess. It's cyclical like that. And then when Billy enters his 40s, he's like, it's fuck time, baby. You know?
Yep. And from what I've like heard, like that does happen. So it's
Yeah,
like there's something to
yeah.
it, I think.
There's something to it. It's a
It's
cycle
not
of
just
life there.
Billy, it's not just
No,
Billy.
no, 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 no. It's
So
not. So it's interesting, but it makes sense. So it's not just like him being like, okay, I'm gonna just oh, I think being a slacker punk is gonna really sell records. I'm gonna just do this now. Like that kind of aspect was always there, and it makes sense that they would lean into it more. And obviously that's the thing that like if this was like a disingenuine turn, like they would have made Dookie part 2, and they would have like really leaned into the slacker motif. But
mhm.
then we get into Insomniac, and like that's not what they do. So yeah, I that's why it sounds so sincere. And then like a million other artists, they take that and run with it and run it into the ground. And I kind of think that might be a little bit of why, like Mark Hoppus's memoir, Mark Hoppus from Blink-182, his memoir just
Yeah.
came out a couple weeks ago. I have not read it yet, but I do want to. And there's a lot of talk about Green Day, especially that pop disaster tour in 2001. And you know, it just Mark, I guess, does seem kind of like you know, he's honest about the tension there, and
Mhm.
what he believes Green Day thought of Blink. And I think a lot of that is because like Green Day did a thing that was enormously successful, and then like a bunch of other people just kind of ran with it. And regardless of how successful Blink was or how sincere they were, I'm a big Blink fan. Like that's you can kind of see where uh, Billy Joe and the boys would have their heckles up a little bit. Like this is like they're kind of like running our thing into the ground here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I thought I would just mention
Well,
it.
no, I hear you because it's like it almost feels like they're touring with a consequence of themselves. It's like Blink wouldn't be
Yes,
where they're at if not for Dookie being
yes,
made, and so
absolutely.
I think they're kind of like face to face with sort of like you know um yeah, consequence makes it sound
Yeah.
negative,
Well,
but it's
I
it's
know.
it's it's you know it's a result of
Yes.
their success, like you're saying, and like because Green Day does not continue, at least straightforwardly down the path that could have been set forth by Dookie in the way that a lot of other bands who do in that moment, because obviously they're encouraged and incentivized to do so. Yeah, I can see why they would be at least a little a little skeptical of a band like Blink and just be like,
Yeah.
are you really just here because of what we did?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, there's definitely that, and also it's like, well, you've kind of been doing this for like we did one album of this kind of shtick. Like you're on your third iteration here, and to add insult to injury, they at that point they were massively successful. Blink was the
Hmm.
bigger band, so it's
Yeah.
like, that's an interesting period. I'm so excited to get to that period because we will watch the documentary on the Pop Disaster tour and we'll talk about it. That'll be fun. But anyways, this is where it all begins, and um, it's this is not even like for green dudes or whatever, but like the last couple weeks at night, just hanging out like before I go to work, I've been watching like old Green Day concerts on YouTube. Usually from like 92 to 95 or something. Just I've just like been finding them randomly and putting them on. And the difference in like just the difference in their personality on stage is like so crazy and so pronounced. Um, to have like a concert in a backyard in 1992 and then an arena in 95 where like they seem like kind of a bit more grisly and a bit more bitter and jaded,
Hmm.
for lack of a better word. Um, like the other night, I watched a show from I think it was early '95 where they were like, yeah, we have an album coming out later this year. Insomniac was already recorded. Um, but I mean, it's like this period is like such a it's a crazy growth period because like I remember we talking about that question, like what did Green Day do between 1992 and 94, like between Kerplunk and Dookie? That seems like such a big gap, but it's like it seems like all the actual growth happens but like during 94, like
Yeah.
it's such a trial by fire for them.
Yeah.
um and I think that's the period, like that 94 period, because they just go, they record Insomniac and then they start touring for it, and I think they canceled that tour because of exhaustion.
Hmm.
um so it's like I think that's kind of like where they realize, okay, we don't want to be the Dookie bands, we actually want to uh evolve and grow, and yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
Well,
That that
we'll see, because that's going to probably be a big thing that we discuss as we go into Insomniac and break it down track by track. Just like, here we are, final flush, end of Dookie here. And it feels like kind of natural to go back and connect it to Kerplunk, or consider like how those things are in conversation with each other. I imagine, I mean, I know for sure that when we talk about Insomniac, it's impossible really to divorce it from Dookie,
yeah.
because obviously the whole big narrative about it is essentially that it's reactionary to the hyper success of Dookie. And so yeah, like we're gonna be seeing where that thread takes us, because I think there's gonna be a lot to talk about as we go forward there.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor, do you have any before we perform the final flush, and I'll get to what that is,
Okay.
because it's a thing. It's a thing.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
No, it's really feels like I'm waiting for like the ball drop or something.
yeah. Before we get to the final flush, any final thoughts, just in broad brushstrokes of the record?
Yeah, Connor, you might remember that a few weeks ago I thought we were going to be having our final flush, our retrospective.
Yes.
And so I was like, man, I got drunk and I took a bunch of notes down. I'm not going to read through all these, but I'm going to read through just a couple,
Yeah,
because
please do. Yeah, go for it.
I it feels like I have a couple danglers that I gotta get into the toilet. You know what I'm
You got
saying?
a couple of what are those things? The dingleberries.
Dingleberries. Yes, there
Dingleberries.
we
There
go.
we
Yeah,
go. See, we're on the same wavelength.
yeah. No, always, always. You know how it is.
Always.
First thing I want to mention is I know that obviously we talk about every song on the album. That's kind of our shtick. That's our thing. Um, but as I was listening to the album, like as a whole, on this night, which I don't know when it was anymore because the date's wrong. Um, I was listening to the album, and I still think about this when I listen to the album. I feel like even though we're discussing each song, and even though when we discuss each song, we talk about each band member's performance, I have this nagging feeling that we did not give Mike his due, because I will listen through this record and there are just times where I'm just sitting there like, man, I fucking pray I talked about this bass line. You know, I fucking pray that I talked about this moment on Sassafras Roots or whatever, where
Yeah.
Mike's play, you know, like, and I'm sure we did, you know, but one thing I really, really wanted to make sure of is like, I, I don't know. It felt like there was more to say about what Mike contributes, and I think part of that, you know, Mike's role as a bassist oftentimes is to be more foundational in that rhythm section, and he doesn't always he doesn't always have those moments where you know, his bass playing has like kind of the flashiness or the showmanship or the force of, you know, even you like Trey Cool, obviously, because hey, drums, guess what, that's still all rhythm, right? But
Yeah.
the way that Trey plays, because it's so energetic and so powerful, like it always feels like he has these opportunities to like create this huge momentum in the song, and obviously the guitar is front and center, and is like really carrying the melody. And so it's like when you put all those things together, it's going to be easiest for the bass typically to you know, feel a little more subdued. And so sometimes it feels like our conversation sort of steers towards like, well, where are the moments where it's like it's very clear that Mike is kind of like out there, he has his front and center moment, you know. But it's like, I but it's hard to discuss, is my point. I think that talking about what Mike offers sometimes is hard to discuss because he does not always get those kinds of moments. And even without having those more obvious front and center moments, he is always doing something that is like
Yeah.
noteworthy or interesting or worthwhile or that adds to something. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to have a lot more to say on that because I could probably just sit here and spin around on that all day, but man, Mike's playing on this record really, really is phenomenal. And if I wasn't able to articulate that in the ways that I wanted to as we went track by track, I really, really want to say it now. Really good stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I definitely thought similarly listening to it just an hour ago, an hour or two ago. And I do kind of feel like maybe subconsciously I'm like pulling back from giving Mike his due on Dookie, giving Mike his due. Um because like in my head, like I'm like, I know Insomniac is a fucking killer Mike record.
Hmm.
You know, like that's kind of like what I have in my head, and it fucking is. Like he's, but like I don't know, he's like just like really, he's really coming into himself here on Dookie. Like he's really, this is like this is what starts him being known or thought of in some circles as like, oh, like the greatest punk bassist or the greatest pop punk bassist or whatever, um which I think is even kind of um erring on the side of caution in terms of legacy. Like I think he's just fantastic, and he's it like all like he was great before this. He was great on Kerplunk and 39 Smooth, but it starts here. Like this is like, damn, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It is a big step up for him. Yeah. I agree.
absolutely. Uh, all right, Connor, you ready to get into the final flush?
Oh, you sure you don't want me to just go through and read all my drunken notes to you?
No, please. You can read as many as you want.
Can I read one more? Because
Of
it's
course, of course.
it's related to what we were talking. I don't even remember writing this. I'm just gonna read you the note though. This is what it says.
Yeah.
Dookie is such a mark on pop punk, but different from any other pop punk bands. I put bands like Blink and Sum 41 and Yellow Card and Good Charlotte all have some kind of similarity, but no one sounds like Green Day. For as many albums have been inspired by Dookie, I don't feel like anything else sounds quite like Dookie. And that's why I think Green Day are as singularly great as they are, because they have a sound all their own without blatant imitators. And it's kind of crazy because honestly, a lot of bands sound like Blink to me. Maybe that's because I'm a casual fan, but no one else sounds like Green Day to me.
I I swear to God, I was talking to my girlfriend. I think we were watching one of these shows on YouTube just in the background or listening to maybe listening to the new song or something. But she was like, nobody sounds like Green Day. Like there's no other band that sounds like them. And I, and it's not for lack of trying. That's kind of what I said. I was
Yeah.
like there are people there are bands who have really tried to ape the sound, and it's not even like it's just like something about the three of them together that that like you can't you know you take one away and it's not Green Day. And yeah, all those bands they have elements of Green Day's sound, and maybe they even started out as like trying to ape their styles or imitate them, but it didn't happen. It's not it can't yeah, there is something singular about them that cannot be repeated. So I do think you're right. And about Blink, I do think that their style is more imitatable, more uh, especially their early stuff. I actually being a like a bigger fan of Blink than you, and it's sacrilege to a lot of people, but like I'm gonna be a fucking weirdo that says like, oh, I actually like later Blink more than early Blink, which I think most people listening will be like, what the fuck is wrong with
Yeah.
you? But
I mean, it depends what you mean by later Blink and early Blink, maybe, but yeah, yeah.
I'll leave it up to the imagination.
Okay.
But I think there's a lot of copycats of early Blink. I think as they grow, I don't think you can actually do what they're doing from the Untitled record onwards. So really in the same way, but you're right, and I think that's maybe because they weren't totally. It wasn't a totally original mixture of the elements there. But I don't know. This is a Green Day podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, and just to maybe bring it back and finish up this point, and then we can really get to flushing time, baby. Um, it is kind of crazy, like considering what we were talking about before, and thinking about this idea where it's like Dookie is phenomenally famous and successful, and it does inspire a lot of artists to make music. And those artists do want to make something that sounds like Dookie, something that sounds like Green Day. It's kind of amazing that it hasn't happened at least once somewhere, And it's like, and it doesn't mean that you can't be a Green Day cover band. You can make music that is literally Green Day, and you could play like them. But to try to reorganize those things and that style into like your own unique music results in something that is no longer like Green Day adjacent in the same way. Even though you could be like, oh yeah, a lot of these other pop punk bands are kind of riding the Dookie wave, even though but that's the thing, but they don't sound like Dookie. It's like Dookie
Yeah,
creates like or incites, this humongous pop punk wave and movement. But the funny thing is like it it like doesn't it's not the blueprint for the sound of pop punk, even though it has such a massive impact
yeah,
on pop punk. And it's like it's kind of crazy that it happens that way, because you would think that one would have to, like include the other. But I
yeah,
think I think that like a big part of that, again, I think it's like a weird combination of like not for lack of trying, like you said, and people coming up short. But I think also I do think that Green Day's sound is unique in a way that they are often not given credit for. You know, especially by people on the fringes who might kind of write off, like their newer stuff as kind of, radio rock
Yeah.
slop or whatever. But yeah, I just there is something about the music that they make, and I think that comes across in Dookie, because like even when we were talking about Longview, which is one of the biggest songs off this record, it's like they didn't just make a fucking pop punk song. Like Longview is a weird fucking song, and it's strange for it to be as like popular and explosive as it was, and I think that a lot of that carries over into like the record and the sound itself. Like it feels like its massive success would have to then influence what other artists are doing, and it inspires them, but it doesn't lead to like a endless parade of copycats, because it's like they you can't. There is something kind of intangible about it that has not been reproduced the same way.
Yeah, that's a great point, Connor. And I'm gonna bring it back to Ziggy Stardust in the '70s and Bowie a little bit, because in the same way, like Bowie is like kind of in this world but not of this world, and I think you can say the same thing about Green Day and the pop punk explosion. Like they were in it, but they're not. That's not where they live, you know. And they didn't they didn't craft this record to be a pop punk record. They just crafted this record to be a great rock record. And a lot of artists after them, and maybe even before them, like their identity is, oh, we are a punk band, or later on we're a pop punk band. This is what we do. But that was never Green Day's mission. And I mean, a lot of debate ensued. Like, are they a pop punk band? Are they a punk band? Or whatever? They're a rock and roll band. And Dookie proves that. I think it's kind of like funny. Like it's like the exception that proves the rule or something. Where it's like this is their big pop punk record, but it's like not that blasted the gates open for hundreds of pop punk bands for decades to come. But like, it's not the blueprint. It's not the foundation of pop punk. So you're right. It exists in a weird space. I've never thought about it like that, but that's absolutely true.
Yeah, agree, man.
Okay.
So can we take a quick break before we come back to?
We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with the final flush. All right. Be right back, folks.
Cool. I just need like 5 minutes. I'll be back.
Yeah, no worries. All right. You ready? I can't hear you.
Sorry. Yes.
There you go.
Yes, I'm right.
All right. Let's do it. All right. And we are back. Connor, it is time for the final flush.
Wow, you
Yeah. Okay, it's just gonna
Okay.
keep on
You
going.
you
Okay.
came prepared. You came prepared. Very nice. Yeah.
um. Okay, so pretty much what the final flush counter is I think all of these songs on Dookie they really are they're special in their own ways, and I think they deserve um a sending off. I what I would like us to do, Connor, is go track by track. Just say a quick uh final message or a final thought on each of these songs before we
Mhm.
flush them away forever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we're never gonna listen to Dookie again or
We're
talk about
never gonna listen to
it.
any of these songs again or
Right.
talk about them.
Yep.
It's over.
It's the last
Uh
goodbye.
so essentially you'll say some just say a few
Few
as if
words.
it was a funeral
Right.
for these songs, just not just you don't have to go into that much depth. It's not
I
a full
understand.
eulogy, just a couple words and then we flush them away.
Yes. Okay. All right.
um
I
all right,
think I can do it, and I think I could be concise. So I'm gonna do my best.
yeah, that's okay. Well we will do our best. So first up we have track one, Burnout, which I will do the honors first. I will say Burnout, thank you for being one of the best opening tracks of all time.
Yeah. Um. As a Green Day fan, I guess I kind of agree. I definitely think it's one of the best album openers on a Green Day record. Full stop.
Gonna do that noise every time too.
Yeah, no, that's obviously because we're
Yeah,
flushing them down
we're
the.
flushing them down.
They're being flushed.
Um, all right. Track two,
Okay.
Having a
Yeah,
blast.
having a blast. This is a song that is a lot of fun. I enjoy the fantasy of it in a way. Like it feels like a cathartic song, and I think it's okay to revel in the chaos and the violence a little bit. And I think this song
Yeah,
has fun with it in a way that just makes it feel good.
yeah, absolutely. Having a blast. Thank you for being a song about a school shooter before songs about school shooters were cool.
Yes. I'm looking at you. Who did that?
Pumped up kicks.
Pumped up kick
That
song.
was
Yeah,
fuck. What was that band?
I don't know. I can't remember now. Oh well. That was like the first cool school shooter song for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, that was the first. Yeah, that was when it was cool. I don't know how to fucking play it. It just plays from the second that it
stop,
doesn't like
stop
start.
flushing,
It
dude.
doesn't like restart.
You are
But
gonna
anyways,
back up the toilet.
I
Jesus.
yeah. Okay. Uh, Track number three, Chump. Um, Chump. Thank you for giving me a place to channel my misplaced jealousy as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, chump. Thank you for making it feel okay to be a sniveling little twerp. And what a great instrumental breakdown at the end.
Hell, oh fuck yeah, absolutely. You just have to wait the entire time because it's
Yeah, no,
you have to,
obviously it's
yeah, the toilet,
flushing. It's
it's
flushing down
flushing. Yeah.
the toilet. It's okay. Long view. Oh, toilet's still running. Okay,
You're good.
long view. Thank you, Longview, for I don't know. I don't know what to thank you for. Longview, I think that you're a good song and somewhat emblematic of my past thoughts of Dookie, where I like you, but I don't think I like you as much as everyone else. I still feel that way about Longview. It's a just fine, great song.
So, Longview is kind of like the know your enemy of this record.
That's I don't yeah, I guess.
Wow.
I guess if you want to make that comparison.
All right. I'll go a little bit higher praise. Thank you. Okay. I mean, two things. Thank you, Longview, for showing us one of the greatest bass lines of all time. I know I'm being I'm swinging for the fences here with these
We should be
proclamations.
hyperbolic. It's fine.
Yes,
It's fine.
it's and for introducing me to jazz.
And jacking off.
Oh my! How could I forget jacking off?
Yeah.
Same thing though, really. Jazz and jacking off. What's the difference?
It's all improvising, you
It's
know?
all improv, baby. Uh,
You
just
gotta
gotta.
you gotta push the handle.
There we
There
go.
you
Okay,
go.
I got it. I got it.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, it's going down. No, thanks for the help.
Yeah. It gets stuck.
All right, next up, welcome to Paradise. Thank you, welcome to Paradise for oh god, this is gonna sound crazy. I mean, fuck. Thank you, welcome to Paradise for showing us the difference between a $2,000 budget and a $5 million budget. I might those numbers are made up,
Yeah.
um, but this was the first experience where I was like, wow, this major studio thing really pays dividends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you. Welcome to Paradise for definitely improving on Dookie, like you're saying, Connor. And man, I just love the fucking instrumental bridge to this song.
Yeah,
Really fantastic. Even though I'm sorry I rated you at number 14, Welcome to Paradise. I don't really feel that way in my heart. I love you.
absolutely. Goodbye, my friends.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
That was good. That was very nice. Nice to have a little bit of singing at a funeral.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like a eulogy, like you said.
Yeah,
It's like
it does. All right, Connor. Next up, pulling
pulling
teeth for
teeth.
the honors.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Pulling Teeth, for showing me that B-sides can be better than singles and fueling my lifelong disdain and hatred for cowboy hats.
Yes. Actually, you know what? This is another girlfriend story.
Yeah.
My girlfriend just said the other day, and that she thinks Mike looks like he could be a cowboy or could have been a cowboy.
I can see it because he
Yeah.
has a long, almost sorrowful face with very deep crystalline eyes, and his sideburns, I think, give him sort of a classic, rugged kind of bravado to him. I could see it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Pulling Teeth, for yeah, giving me a taste of power pop perfection at a young age. I I was instantly drawn to you, and that's a sound that I chase when I look search for records to get into. Goodbye. All right. Let's see. Oh boy. Next up, we have a big. This is going to be a big turd to flush. This is going to be a big turd
Uh-huh.
to flush.
Uh-huh.
Basket case. Thank you, Basket Case, for yeah. I mean, and this is sincere, honestly. For like yeah, being a big part of my mental health education as a little 10-year-old boy. Um was and to teach me to not be so serious about it too.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that's a very sweet acknowledgement. Basket Case, thank you for being an incredible song that never gets old and really does kind of feel like somehow a perfect example of a perfect song. I think I agree with Rivers Cuomo. This just might be it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised that one went down so easy because it was a big
Yeah,
one.
well, you know,
I didn't wipe though, so that might have helped.
yeah.
That might have helped it because sometimes the reason it clogs is because of all the toilet paper we
Right. It's
use.
actually not the turd itself, but
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Common misconception.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
Next up, we have she.
She.
Connor.
Yeah. Thank you, she, for um for I think I would say for um I don't know how to phrase it, but I guess for being the like vessel and delivering this feminist message, but in a way that I think that like really successfully kind of like uh there's like really strong allyship in here because it's
Yeah.
like Billy's the one writing it, and like it feels like this, even as he's writing the song itself, he's kind of acknowledging that he's like sort of on the side, he's supporting rather than like centering himself. And I don't know,
Yes.
I just really think that just a really great and clever example of how to how to be supportive and how to listen.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well said. I will. She obviously my favorite song on the record. In terms of our rankings. Also a song that I felt like resonated very personally for me as well. As yeah, being a great kind of mini primer in yeah, I mean allyship, I guess is a great way to put it. But also having one of Billy Joe's or Green Day's best screams in their entire catalog. Um, that it's fucking killer. It's up there with the best of the Green Day screams. I was almost screaming, pushing that turd out because it was so that was a tough one.
Yeah, yep.
You know, you have those turds sometimes where it's like it makes you want to scream.
Yeah, no, sometimes I do.
So rough. And you're not screaming in silence there, that's for sure.
No, no.
Um, all right. Next up, Sassafras Roots. Yes. Thank you, Sassafras Roots, for yeah, I mean for kind of like informing part of my personality as a little kid who was very relieved that it was cool to waste time and action and do nothing.
Totally. Yeah, yeah, I'll second that. Thank you, Sassafras Roots. I don't feel like as much of a loser whenever I listen to you.
Absolutely. And we wasted a lot of time together
I
back in those days.
We're arguably wasting time right now. So.
Yeah, some would say. Some would say.
All right. Uh, Next up, thank you when I come around for somehow perfectly threading the needle between radio pop rock hit and just an awesome, fucking unique, interesting song with a really lovely guitar solo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you when I come around for all of that, and also for having a music video that I think we talked about that like has what kids today would describe aura, right?
Oh
They
yeah,
would call it it has aura, um, and being like a perfect time capsule of like what we imagine the '90s to have been.
yes.
Uh, Thank you for that.
One day I will have Billy Joe's sweater.
Yes, yes, that's the goal. Maybe that'll be a gift one of the listeners gets you. You know, just putting that out there.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Took a
There
second
we
there.
go.
Took a
There
second
we
there.
go.
Uh, Next up we have Coming Clean, which is not just about using your bidet. Um,
Good one. On a
it's
roll here, buddy.
yeah, thank you, Coming Clean for yeah. I mean, being my first exposure to kind of dealing with these big questions as as far as what masculinity means to me, sexuality, and for doing that in a kick-ass Green Day song. It's an important one.
Totally. Thank you, Coming Clean. I had mentioned currently my new favorite song off of Dookie, and I had mentioned on the previous episode, or not episodes, but like album retrospectives, my favorite musical moments, not just on the favorite song or whatever, but my favorite singular moment on the album. I realized that Coming Clean has that, and it's the moment that I've already talked about a whole bunch, which is why I love the song so much. But when Billy's singing 17 and Coming Clean for the first time, every time I listen to that song, I feel like I can feel the crescendo, man. It's just that good. Thank you, Coming Clean, for being as awesome as you are.
Hell yeah. All right.
Okay, next up, Amenius Sleepus. Thank you, Amenius Sleepus, for just kind of showing that fucking you can cut people out if you need to. I've always been bad at that, and I still am, but I respect this song because it always feels like there's like something for me to learn or take away from it in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Aminius Sleepus, for capturing the feeling of being at a sleepover you don't want to be at and wanting to go home. And also for being a showcase of what an awesome songwriter Mike Dirnt is. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have In the End. I'm gonna say thank you in the end for being an example of Green Day just kind of throwing their hands up and writing a punk rock banger.
Totally. Yeah. Thank you in the end. I agree. Just a cool, fun, fast song. That's kind of about telling people to fuck off,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well,
there's other songs about that too. So
there happens to be
Yeah.
a big one. Thank you in the end.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, we're still figuring this toilet out. We're just
There we go. There we go. Well, I imagine it's like one of those, like one of those school toilets with the little side handle, like a little iron bar, and it's always like stuck or wiggly or
yes, those are nuisances.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's what this toilet is here.
Yeah.
Thank you, FOD, for being a phenomenal closing track, and I really do think in a lot of ways, kind of making me realize just how important a closing track is to an album.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, FOD, for being an exceptional closing track, and also for kind of being a great showcase of Billy Joe and Green Day letting their anger take hold and showing this other side of the band that up until this point really has not been able to be unleashed, and kind of being a bit of a preview to the next era. Thank you, FOD. We love you. And that is it. Or maybe not.
Wait a minute.
Kind of what's one thing you usually do all by yourself?
Well, take a big old shit, I can tell you that
That's
much.
true. That's true.
No one's in the room with me when I'm doing that.
Usually you're all alone. I mean, if you're in a public restroom, hopefully you're in a stall that's secluded. That's ideal. But usually you're all by myself. And that happens to be the name of the secret song on this record, All by Myself. I want to thank you for showing us that Green Day does not take themselves all too seriously, and that it's okay to be cringe sometimes.
Yeah. Thanks, all by myself, for being as stupid as you are. I do still sometimes feel a little uncomfortable, but I think that that's the point, and
Yeah,
there's someone to be appreciated about that. Thank you.
yeah. And here it is, the final flush.
Amen.
Amen. All right, Connor. Do you have any final thoughts on the final flush on Dookie, the final flush?
Um, something I recently visited my childhood home in the neighborhood where you and I grew up together, Connor.
Yeah.
And when I went to my old house to visit my mom, and she was like, "Hey, I set up your boombox and I found some CDs." And she's like, I have it all set up for you. She's like, if you want to listen to Green Day, all you have to do is go upstairs and press play. And she
Wow.
wasn't kidding. She's ridiculous because it was on and everything. Like, it was plugged in and turned on, and the CD was in it. And all I did was
Oh my
press
god.
play. And, sure enough, what was funny is actually what she put in there is Nimrod. But now I'm digging through my Green Day CDs, and it made me realize Dookie was not my first Green Day album. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, my first Green Day album that I purchased, that I bought, was International Super Hits.
Yeah.
But in terms of the chronology of the albums that we are discussing here, obviously 39 Smooth to Kerplunk to Dookie, of those three, Dookie is the first record that we're discussing that I did own on CD. I didn't have 39 Smooth. I didn't have
Oh yeah.
Kerplunk ever. And so I brought it back with me. And it's just cool to like look through the little booklet, and just funny feeling like, now I'm kind of getting into the point of Green Day's discography where it's like, yeah, I was always listening to these songs and to this music, but it's like this is one that I really remember holding in my hands, and that's really special.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that, you sent me a picture of that boombox and the Green Day CD there, and I mean, like, instantly, like, so many memories come flooding back of listening to CDs on that boombox and playing air guitar to Green Day, and just
Yes.
fucking, yeah, it's so many great memories. So yeah, that, big big ups to your mom for making it easy for you to get flooded with nostalgia.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's right. Thank you, Mom.
we love you, Dookie. We love you, Mom. Uh, yeah, I think that's about it for our Dookie retrospective. Thank you for spending the time listening to us gush about Dookie as it gushes out of us. Both ends, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Um, Next week we will be covering the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Hollywood. I don't know how do you say that. Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Hollywood star. Walk of Fame star.
Hollywood.
Holly Walk Star of
Yeah,
Fame.
it's the last one. Holly Walk, Star of Fame.
Holly
That's it.
Walk Star of Fame. Okay. Next week we'll be covering the Holly Walk Star of Fame and the brand new Green Day song, Ballyhoo, or is it Ballyhoo or Ballyhoo? Ballyhoo, right?
Ballyhoo, right?
Ballyhoo.
We
Yeah.
stumble down the
Yes.
avenue. Yeah, right.
That's obviously a word that's kicking around Billy Joe's brain recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, you can share you can share your final flush messages with us if you want. You can email us at greendudespod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at greendudespod. Please, while you are on your phone or computer, please stop by Apple Podcasts. Give us a nice review as well as a 5-star rating. Yeah, we will be talking to you next week. Until next time, though, folks,
Stay punk.
punk. All right, live stream, you've been flushed.
I can't believe you didn't clog the toilet.
That was a close one.